Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going through my picks for the 2026 World Darts Championship. A few changes for this year. They went from 96 players to 128, and they also changed the format to where everyone plays in the first round. No seeded players that get a bye to the second round. I really like this change. Kind of puts pressure on people that are defending a lot of money, and the winner gets £1 million, 400,000 pounds more than last year, which is pretty sweet. Career changer for anyone not in the top 10 currently. Even people in the top 10, that'll throw them into the top 2, throw them into the Premier League. So it's pretty awesome. All right, let's get into it. What I did was I took the bracket and I'm going through each section half by half. That's the only way I could really make it fit so you could see my picks. I threw the averages for each player right next to their name, and you'll see the orange square around matches that I think could go either way, but I'll give you my picks regardless. All right. So going through the top of section 1, I got Littler here versus Labanauskas. Not much to talk about that. Mario over Davies here. Davies is a qualifier. Mario's been on tour. I think he takes that down. Cullen versus Brooks. I think that's going to be a great match if they both show up. Cullen's been in bad form of late, and Brooks has been kind of moving up in form. That's why I picked Brooks. Going to be a banger if they're both on form, though. Solovich versus Cameron. Picking Solovich here, just consistent, higher average. Hedda versus Lennon. Lennon's never really did it for me, and Hedda has been playing fairly well. A little inconsistent, but I still got him winning this one. Van Barneveld versus Belmont. Belmont did have a good run in the Grand Slam, I believe. So if Barneveld doesn't show up, Belmont has a chance, but I think Barneveld loves the big stage and he takes this one down. Here's my first big upset pick, Cross versus Decker. Cross's average is obviously way higher for the year, but his form of late has not been that good, and Decker has played pretty well this year. Cross is defending a lot of money from 2 years ago, so I think that's going to be weighing on his mind. If he doesn't show up and play his ass off, I think Decker has a good chance to take him down. White versus King, this is kind of a coin flip for me. I don't really see anyone having an advantage here other than Ian White playing more games throughout the year. Going White here, though. All right, let's go through second round. Littler versus Mario. Don't need to talk about that one. Littler takes it down. Brooks versus Solovich. Brooks takes this one down unless Solovich slows him down to where he throws his game off. Hedda Barneveld. I think if Hedda wins his first round match, he's going to feel comfortable on stage, and I think he's going to take Barneveld down. Barneveld's been declining of late, and I think Hedda just will have the advantage there. Decker versus White. I think if Decker wins versus Cross, he takes down White. He's going to have momentum there. Littler Brooks, that's going to be a banger if they're both on form. A lot of 180s. Would love to see that matchup, but Littler takes that one down. And Hedda Decker, that one's a close call. If they both win their first 2 matches, I think they're both going to be hot. But my gut's telling me Hedda takes that one down, and then Littler Hedda. You get to a 4th round, best of 7 sets. So we're looking at first to 4 sets there. I think Littler just has the advantage, a little bit longer format, and Hedda makes too many mistakes under pressure. Doby versus Zong, easy one. Doby takes it down. I'll also be trying to make daily videos where I dive into the stats a little bit more. Like, I don't know too much about Zong, but I really don't think too many people can beat Doby on their best day. So got to go Doby on that one. Gilding versus Crabtree. That one's in orange. Could go either way, but Crabtree's been hot of late, and going with Crabtree to win that. I think if Gilding plays his top game and slows Crabtree down, he might have a shot. But I'm rooting for Crabtree. I hope he makes it far. Woodhouse versus Kirchmar. Kirchmar's always entertaining. If Woodhouse shows up, he takes this one down. Kirchmar has a shot, though. But I'm picking Woodhouse. Lukeman's been playing pretty bad lately, so I'm going Hop here. This is probably an underdog pick, but he's a 180 hitter. Exciting to watch. I'm rooting for him to win. Price versus Gaulis. Bad draw for Adam. If Price is off, he might have a 10% chance, but Price takes this one down the majority of the time. Venning versus Plaisier. Both players have been on very good form of late, and if you look at those averages, they're basically the same. This is going to be a close match, but I'm going with Plaisier. I think overall he's more consistent. I think Venning might have just been hot for a little while. Well, hopefully it's not, and hopefully he keeps going, but we'll see. Ryan Joyce versus Bates. Not really much discussion there. Joyce is consistent, one of the best players on his doubles. Joyce takes that, and then Ratajski versus Toilo. I think Ratajski takes that one down. Going into the second round, Dobie Crabtree. Would love to see Crabtree win, but I think Dobie's just too consistent, too high scoring for Crabtree, and he takes it down. Woodhouse Hop, still hopping on the max train here. I think he takes it down. I think Woodhouse will crumble under the pressure. Price versus Plazier. Got to go Price again. I don't need to discuss this and waste your time. Joyce versus Ratajski. I feel like they've played a lot in the last year or two, but I ended up picking Ratajski. Right now I'm leaning towards Joyce in my gut, but I picked Ratajski when I made the bracket, so I'm going to go with it. Price versus Ratajski. Easy pick for Price. Dobie Hop. Yeah, Dobie. Yeah. Two guys with 96, 97 averages. They're going to end up playing each other a lot of times in the fourth round. Fourth round match is Dobie versus Price. I'm going Price here. I want to see him go pretty far, at least to the quarterfinals, because he's playing Littler. Section 2 top. I got Bunting over Sebastian. Vienstra versus the qualifier Nitin Kumar, who averages 77. That's not much of a thing, not much of a discussion. I got Dirk over Andy here, easy pick, and James Hurl over Stowe Bunce. James played pretty good in the last tournament, which is why I'm picking him over Stowe. Schindler versus Stephen Burton, easy pick with Shindy. Keen Barry versus the Magnet Tim Pusey, the legend. His average just isn't living up to it, and he qualified. Got to go Barry here. Searle versus Landman. Got to pick Searle, although if he doesn't show up, he has his bad days. Landman has a shot, but it's not orange because I think Searle takes us down the majority of the time. And then we got Dolan versus Dudeni. 82 average, qualifier. Got to go Dolan here. Bunting versus Vienstra. Got to go Bunting on here. Just higher average, more consistent. And Dirk versus Hurl. I'm on the Dirk train today, and also I think he'll beat Hurl the majority of the time. Schindler versus Barry, going Shindy on here, more consistent, better under pressure. And Searle, Dolan, going Searle. Dolan's been off lately. I think if Searle shows up, he's got a shot. And then Bunting, Dirk. I'm on the Dirk train. Let's go. I'll dive into more of these stats when I do the daily videos, where I kind of dive into what their first and second round stats have been and stuff like that. And Schindler Searle. I'm going Searle on this one. I think if Searle wins his first two, he's going to have a little bit of momentum. He's going to take Shindy down. Although it's going to be a great match. And then Dirk Searle, a lot of 180s, but I think Dirk takes this one down. If Dirk gets any momentum in this tournament, I think he's going to at least make it to the quarters. Section 2 bottom. Clayton versus Lipscomb. Got to go Clayton here the majority of the time. Lipscomb played pretty well in the last tournament, I believe, but not enough to beat Clayton. Dom Taylor versus Oscar. Taylor's an easy pick here. Smith versus Ashton. I would bet on Lisa to at least get one set, but I think Smith takes this down. Neil Zonneveld versus Hapai Puha. This is one I have an orange because I think Puha could take Niels down if he's not on his A game. But overall, I'm picking Zonneveld for the bracket. Ross Smith versus Harrison. That's another one. If Ross shows up, he's making it to the quarterfinals. So I'm assuming, while I make this bracket, that Ross is going to show up on this. So I got him beating Harrison. Tricol versus Sakai. I don't know much about Sakai, but they're a qualifier. And only an 86 average. Tricol not too much higher, but I think the consistency and the play on the big stage, that experience will lead to his victory here. And then we have Chisnell versus Fallon. I believe Chisnell will end up winning this one. Fallon hasn't been in the best form, but would love to see her make a comeback and make enough money to be on the tour. I've been hoping she made it through Q School the last few years, but she just made it to the final round both times. Didn't end up sealing the card. Would love to see her make it far in the tournament. I don't think it's going to happen, but would love to see it. Pikachu versus D'Souza, another guy that's been off the grid of late. He made it through a qualifier, so easy pick for Pikachu here. He's been playing on the big stages all year. So, okay, Clayton versus Michael Smith. Easy pick. Clayton's been way more consistent this year. Clayton versus Taylor. Taylor's a great player. I think Clayton takes him on the big stage, though. Michael Smith versus Zonneveld. If Smith's hot, I think he takes it down pretty easily. Zonneveld does pop in a lot of 180s, though, so could be a close one. Ross Smith versus Tricol. easy pick for me if he's on. Ross Smith takes that. And then Chisnell Pikachu. I think Chisnell's been lackluster of late in form. I think Pikachu takes it down. Clayton versus Michael Smith. Yeah, Smith has not been in good form of late. He's just starting to get it back, so we'll see. But I'm still picking Clayton. He's too consistent, especially on the big stage. Ross Smith versus Pikachu. That's going to be a banger. Pikachu might slow Ross down a bit, but Ross is pretty slow himself. I think he'll be okay. If he's hitting 180s, he wins this. And then same thing goes for this. If Smith is hitting that first start triple, I think he takes this one down. And then we have a Dirk Ross Smith quarterfinal. That's a banger. Section 3 top. Luke Humphries versus Ted Evans. Humphries, easy pick. I'm picking DeGraff versus Paul Lim. Wessel versus Carroll's one to talk about here. Wessel's been choking in the big games of late. I think he's going to take this one down, though. I think it might be his time until he plays up against Humphries. He got pretty unlucky here to be right next to Humphries in the bracket, and even if he wasn't, he had to play Aspinall, so he was kind of screwed either way. Either way, I have him going to the third round. Clemens versus Alex Spellman, easy pick. Spellman wasn't too good in the Grand Slam. Clemens, although not too hot of late, still I think a better player overall. Aspinall versus Lawrence Ilagan, easy pick. Asp takes it. Mansell versus Leonard Gates. Picking Mansell here. Higher average, more consistent than Gates. That one could go either way if Mickey plays bad, but I think he's going to show up. DeDecker versus Munya. I don't know much about Munya, so easy pick for DeDecker till I dive into the stats. And Kevin Dowitz versus Dennett. That's one I have going either way, but the gut tells me Dowitz. He had that great match against Michael Smith last year. That was one of my favorite matches. Let's see, Humphries DeGraff, easy pick for Humphries. Nyman Clemens, another easy pick for Nyman if he wins his first round match. Aspinall Mansell, easy pick. DeDecker Dowitz. I think if DeDecker wins his first round, he will, but yeah, I think Dowitz has a shot, but I'm picking DeDecker. Humphries over Nyman, Aspinall over DeDecker, and then you have a banger fourth round match, Humphries Aspinall. But statistically, you got to go with Humphries winning. Would love to see Aspinall take that one, though. Section 3 bottom, you got James Wade over Asamoto, easy pick. Evans over Manlock, easy pick there. Next one is going to be a close one. We got Menzies over Manby, although would love to see the new guy Manby take this one down. It's a close call. But I think Menzies is going to show up. He has that big stage experience, and I think that's going to factor into his victory. Campbell over Savada, easy pick. Campbell's been in great form lately. And Van Veen over Reyes, easy pick for Van Veen. Reyes' average is only high because 97 is the average he had in the qualifier. I don't think he played at all the rest of the year on Pro Tour. Suter over Timu Harju, easy pick for Suter. It would have been a harder match if he just played regular Harju. Timu version, not as good. Dimitri Vandenberg versus Darren Beveridge. I'm picking ice cold on this because Vandenberg has not been in good form. So Darren's average is actually better in the last 12 months. So he might not even be the underdog. But yeah, I'm going with that. Rasma over Vanden Erik. Averages are fairly close, but I think Rasma takes it. He's got big stage experience. I'm not sure about Vanden Erik. I got to look into the stats a bit more on that one. Wade versus Evans. I think Evans has the crowd on his side, and Wade has not been clinical as he used to be, at least in the last few months. So I think Evans takes that one down. I think Menzies beats Campbell. Veen beats Suter. Beveridge beats Rasma. I think when it comes to Evans and Menzies, I have Evans winning that one. That one's going to be close, though. I got to look at the averages and for their first and second round matches, and then I have Veen over Beveridge, and then I have Veen over Evans, where they have a European Championship rematch of Humphries versus Veen. That's going to be a banger. Hopefully we see that matchup. All right, Section 4 top. We got Michael Van Gerwen versus Tatsunami. MVG. O'Connor versus Christoph Kachuk. Picking O'Connor here. Just by averages and the fact Christoph qualified. Peter Wright versus Noah Lynn Van Leuven. Easy pick for Peter. Noah Lynn was the last qualifier based on women's rankings. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that one. Kim Hybricks versus Arno Merck. That was on day one. Easy pick for Kim. Gary Anderson versus Adam Hunt. Easy pick for Gary on this one. And then Connor Scott versus Whitlock. I'm on the Scott train for the first few rounds here. Whitlock's a legend, but I think it's his time to win a few matches on the big stage. So Jermaine Watamena has been playing great. I'm not going to bet against him right now over Dominic. And then Scott Williams, the Yellow Pants Bandit versus Paolo Nebrita. I got Scott Williams winning here, although I have him losing to Watamena. I have Scott beating Anderson. That's a bit of an underdog pick right there. And Hybricks beating Wright. Wright hasn't been in good form. MVG beating O'Connor. MVG beating Hybricks. Watamena beating Scott. And then MVG Watamena 4th round. And then I have MVG. The Section 4 bottom, we have Noppert versus Vandervelde, who both played pretty well in the Grand Slam. I have Noppert winning that one, though. Nick Kenny versus Justin Hood. I got Hood on this one. I kind of like the way he plays, so I'm kind of just rooting for him. The averages are similar, so it could go either way, but rooting for Hood. Ed House versus Tata. I've been watching him play over in that Australian Premier League. He's been doing pretty good over there, so I'm going to pick him on this one. Mikkel versus qualifier Salate. Got to go Mikkel on this one, just based on averages. And then we have Rock versus one of the women qualifiers, Gemma Hayter, who's averaging about 80. That's not going to be enough to beat Rock. Springer versus Joe Comito. Springer's pretty hot this year, so he's winning that one. And then one of the hardest picks of the first round is Daryl Gurney versus Bo Greaves. Daryl just started playing pretty good, and Bo's been always playing pretty good. I got to go Greaves on this one. I think Daryl could take it down if Greaves misses some doubles, but I think it's going to be a banger of a match. I think it's going to be 3-2, one of them. But I'm going Greaves for my bracket. Really rooting for her to do very well in this tournament. But she's going to have to play Rock if she makes it to the third round. Callan Ridds versus Patrick Kovacs. Got to go Ridds here. Going back up to the top for the second round. Noppert versus Hood. Going Noppy on this. He's consistent. Sorry, Justin, but Tata versus Mikkel. Going Tata again. And Rock Springer. Got to go Rock on that one. Should be a banger of a match, though. And then Greaves Ridds. I think if she wins her first round match, she's taking Ridds down. Too inconsistent the past few years on big stages. So we got Noppert versus Tata. I think this is the end of Tata. So Tata, see you later. Noppert takes this one down, and I think Rock ends up beating Greaves. But that's going to be a match to watch. It's going to be awesome. Noppert versus Rock, another awesome match. And then MVG versus Rock. Moving on to the quarterfinals, down to the final, I have Littler versus Price. Dirk versus Smith, Humphreys versus Van Veen, and MVG versus Rock. Yeah, it looks like I just picked all the people with the highest averages. Wow, great picker. I got Littler over Price. I have Ross Smith over Dirk. That's going to be an interesting match. Humphreys over Van Veen, and Rock over MVG. Honestly, I'm just excited to watch these matches. I really don't care who wins. Luke Littler versus Ross Smith. 180 fest. It's going to be nuts. If Ross is on and doesn't just get smoked to, 6-0, it's going to be a great match. I'm very looking forward to that if it happens. And then Humphreys Rock. It's going to be a killer too. We just need Rock to show up. We need him to show up on these big games. The good news is these are all on separate days, so he's going to have time to rest. I think he gets a little worn out in the Sundays. He plays really well on the first round of Sunday, and then I think you move on to the second and third, he starts to lose it. So I think the fact that he's going to be playing on separate days, he's going to be fresh. I think he takes Humphreys down. Luke Littler versus Rock, going to be a banger. I think it's going to be, what is that? I think it's going to be 7-4 or 7-5 Littler for that. Let me know which ones you think were awful picks. Which one do you agree on? And enjoy watching, guys. Can't wait. Best time of the year.